Hi, I have had quite a few requests by people that are home with their kids right now, home with their families, asking how on earth do we do this? And because we have six children and we homeschooled, I guess people think I will have answers, which maybe I will and maybe I won't, but I'm willing to at least offer you some of my experience and hope it will be helpful. What we're experiencing right now is completely new and unheard of in our nation and in the world, and it's pretty amazing. And families that are sheltering in place, it's a totally new experience for most of them. If you're used to your kids being in public school and now they're home, you're used to mom and dad out working and now they're home. This is a whole new experience, in addition to stress of the unknown and fear and a lot of other things that are going along with it. So today I have 10 tips for you that hopefully will help you through this season. And one thing I would like you to look at is, God is always moving. He's always speaking. So what is he saying to you? What is this time for you? I guarantee you that God is not going to waste this time. He has a purpose for it. And so what is he saying to you about your family? And what is it that he's opening doors for you? So these tips, number one, keep routines. If you already have a really good morning routine and you guys all get up at the same time and do your breakfast and your chores and get out the door, keep those routines, even if you're staying in. If you've got bedtime routines in place, keep those routines. If you don't have those, you might need to put some things in place. Don't go crazy and schedule every moment of your day. You need to have free time. You need to have scheduled time. But you guys all want to be on the same page. You want to know what you're doing with your day. And so that can really help. It also helps just bring some of the normal back in, the things that we keep doing. We still brush our teeth every night, even when we're sheltering in place. Number two, don't feel pressure to keep up a classroom school routine. This is really important. Homeschooling is completely different from classroom schooling. And quarantine schooling is totally different than homeschooling. So my first suggestion would be just to pitch your ideas of what school should look like, of what school should be during this time. Most school districts are saying that children cannot be responsible for their grades during the sheltering time. So not all kids are going to have the same sort of access to the internet, to different resources, and so they feel that they can't grade a child based on an uneven playing field. So there's a lot of freedom there. Don't feel like you have to do every assignment the school gives you or your teacher gives you. You don't have to look at every video they send you. Classrooms have to rely on busy work. There's no way a teacher with 30 kids in a classroom can manage unless she gives them busy work. You don't have to do that while you're at home. So look for natural ways to connect with your kids, to learn, to grow together, to laugh together. One of the best things you can do is read out loud. Let your kids play with Play-Doh or Legos or paint while you're reading through a classic novel. It's a great way to learn together. You guys can discuss things. A couple of things that I heard when I was in the early years of homeschooling was that if you took a year off school and did nothing but read out loud, your kids would be fine. And I believe that's absolutely true. A study was done to show that someone immigrating to the US that knows the English language could complete all of the topics from K to 8 in a year, and all 4 years of high school in a year and a half. So I guarantee you, your kids are not going to miss out if they go 3 months without schooling. Now, that doesn't mean you should just put them in front of a TV all day. I'm not suggesting that. But take advantage of learning opportunities. What are they curious about? What do they want to learn about? I'm actually going to do another video about how to homeschool, how to do project weeks, set goals with your kids. So I'll go into some more detail about that then. Number three, use screens wisely. Definitely be careful. Do not give your kids unlimited screen time, and use your screen time as a reward. Screen time is what happens when our morning routine is done, when our chores are done, when our schoolwork is done. Even if you're deciding on a minimal amount that you would like them to accomplish, they need to get those things done before they have free time, before they have screen time. You also want to take advantage of screen time to be watching educational things, educational games, and connecting to family. Use FaceTime and Marco Polo and texting and all those things to connect to family, to grandparents, to school friends. Keep those connections going while you're in sheltering mode. Number 4, go outside every day. This is really important. And I know there's other places where you can get this information. It's just that people have asked me, so I'm letting you know my thoughts. Get some vitamin D, get out in the sun, exercise, play together with your kids. Set up an obstacle course and time each other on how quickly you get through it. Go on a nature walk, collect things. Have your kids draw with a sketchbook or paint. These are great ways to enjoy the outside, and really, really important for everyone to be outside in the fresh air. Number 5, keep your house clean. That's assuming your house is normally clean. Whatever your normal is, try to keep that up. This also provides extra time really to deep clean and to declutter. And I'm going to try to leave a link on some decluttering techniques. That would be a really great, maybe I'll do a video on that too, on minimalism, decluttering, that kind of stuff, which it's a great opportunity now with extra time on your hands to do that. With that said, it doesn't have to be perfect. And so if you have days where you wake up and everyone stays in their pajamas and you watch Disney movies all day, awesome, do that. I would rather have you do that than be a taskmaster who's yelling at the kids, having to get chores done, get school done, and everyone's miserable. We don't need that, especially not now. Okay, number 6, make it a priority to connect with your kids. You might think that being home with your family all day is the same as being connected to them, but there's nothing further from the truth. Connecting to your kids, you have to make it a priority, and you have to be intentional about it. A couple of times that are really important are mealtime, and maybe you're used to just a quick meal, everyone eats fast, rushes off to their next thing, but now you have more time. So enjoy talking with one another. It's a great opportunity to teach your children how to listen and not interrupt, how to speak up when someone asks them a question. In our family, when we do family dinners, we would do our rose and thorn, the best and worst part of your day. And kids love this. They love to answer those questions, and you go around in a circle and everyone gets a chance to answer. It's a great way to develop speaking skills for your children and listening skills. Another important time is bedtime. And I would encourage you to make that a little bit more of a one-on-one time with your kids. Even if your kids share a room, let's say you have 2 children, stagger their bedtimes so that a parent has some one-on-one time with them before bed, lights dimmed, maybe have a flashlight, have candles, and just sit on the edge of the bed and chat. Listen, hear what they have to say. Sometimes you have to listen a little bit in silence, just waiting, but if you're patient, your kids will usually speak up and share things that are going on. And in the day-to-day busyness, our children usually do not share our thoughts with us, not their deep feelings and what's really going on inside of them. So it's up to us to draw that out and to ask them what they think about everything that's going on in the world, to be able to reassure them, to pray with them. Number 7, this is absolutely my top tip. If you could only do one thing, it's implement a quiet time in your household, which means at the set time, we often did this after lunch, everybody has quiet time. Depending on your ages, it can be anywhere from 15 minutes to an hour to 2 hours. And the benefits of this is everyone gets a break. You get a break from each other, you get a break from the noise, from the interaction. Kids learn to play quietly. They learn to have just some alone time and not have constant stimulus. It's really, really good for them. It's also an obedience thing. If your kids can go to quiet time as soon as you say it's time to do that, you know you've trained them well and they're willing to obey you. I can do a separate video on that with more detail, because this also helps with children that are extroverts and ones that really like to talk. So if you've got a kid that, Mom, will you do this? Will you play with me? Will you help me with this? All day long, and you guys are sheltering in place, you're going to go crazy after a couple days. So there's ways to manage that with your children. But have quiet time, even if it's just adults in the house, it gives everyone a break from each other. Number 8, prioritize your marriage. Again, just because you're living together in the same house doesn't mean you're connecting. Eye to eye, heart to heart, physical touch, paying attention to one another, responding in kindness and gentleness is so important. And things like this really do bring out the worst in people, unfortunately. This is kind of pressure. We're in a pressure cooker, and truth squeezes out. What is really inside of us squeezes out. And I would love to say that just Jesus squeezes out of me, but that's not always the case. So, I mean, we've been set and on edge in our home lately. We've had a lot of change, a lot of transition, kids moving in, kids moving out, worries with school, pressures of having to do school in a new way. And this is for a college student, which is a little different. You're paying for this education and they're still going to get their degree. If you're talking about elementary, junior high, you really don't need to be worrying too much about that. But in your marriage, make sure that you're connecting with your spouse. Spend time to go for a walk. Have a date night where the kids all have a movie or go to bed early, and you just prioritize that time with each other. Number 9, speak life and have grace for one another. This is a time where more than ever, we need to speak life to our children, to our spouses. We need to have a gentle response. We need to check our anger, which means we really need time with the Lord. At least I do. That has to be a priority for my best to come out with my family. So take the time to pray and set your day right, and watch your words, watch your tone, watch the words you say to your children. If you need to, just zip it and walk away. If that's what you need to do in the moment because you feel anger rising in you. There's a really great book that I recommend called Triggers, and I will have that in the link below. They are getting ready to start a book study during the shelter-in-place mandate, and I would highly encourage you to join that. If you have any issues with anger or you're struggling with being home with your kids right now, it would be a fantastic book study for you. And finally, number 10, seek the Lord together. Of course, you need to seek Him in your own private time, but this is also a great time to teach your children how to pray, how to intercede, how to study the Bible. And if you're not sure how to do that, go on Pinterest and search it. I guarantee you'll get a lot of ideas of how you can deepen your kids' relationships with God, how you can encourage them to take their concerns to the Lord, and how you can also empower them to pray for their nation and for the world, for their families, for their communities, for their friends at school. They have more power than they realize as believers. And Chris Valentin came out with a post recently. It's something like 5 ways that you can encourage your kids to be involved in supernatural ministry. I'll try to have a link to that. It was a great article about inviting your kids in to being the church and ministering with the power of the Holy Spirit in them. And it was really phenomenal. So I would encourage you to take a look at that. So these are just a few ideas. If this is helpful for you, then I'm going to post some more detailed things in the future, and just going into a little bit more depth on some of these topics. Have a great day. God bless you.